don't know how long I've been making these videos. I don't think it's been a year. Because the soundscape is including things that I feel like haven't been on here before. The frogs, the buzzing, I don't even know what they are, cicadas, dragonflies. I know the bees have been here, but it kind of turns into a rainforest on my property. And the heat is hard for this body, and I don't remember making videos in the heat, so that'll be some sort of an adjustment, who knows. And the sense is wanting to make a video, an aliveness in it, and what's alive in this life. It's not that I'm against teaching, but I'm not teaching right now. I don't have the bandwidth or energy or scope to put anything together. Not that what's being talked about could be taught, but I think that the context doesn't really matter. The reality is my life is very full with childcare, and I love it. And it's challenging, and it's very awake. And it's also something that it's like an unsexy spiritual topic, it feels like. In my own life, I feel like the periods where I actually was seeking, even though it wasn't this, there was some sort of a healing being sought and practiced and strived after. I was single. I didn't have a family of my own. The idea of like thinking about parenting just wasn't relevant. And I don't know if that's my, the conditioning here that like speaking about parenthood is unsexy is coming from like that reference point. But there also is a true, like, I wouldn't say alienation, but like void of exploration into awake. Unseparate. Always growing, always changing. Processes of bringing something to life in this world. Whether it's a child, whether it's reparenting, don't know if you can hear me over this crow who's being upset by something above me. In my let me just give this little one a moment to I have a pretty quiet voice, and I can be loud, but it's forced. When I'm working with people on healing and trauma or any kind of therapy, much less like exploring awakening, exploring the justice, often, maybe not always, I wouldn't say always about anything, but often it is a process of reparenting. And so it surprises me that this could ever really be viewed as parenting, could ever really be viewed as anything separate from awakening, from spiritual unity, spirituality, like whatever concept you want to put on top of it. That whether you're raising a child, whether you're healing yourself, whether you're tending a garden, whether you're tending a parent, a loved one, a pet, it's inseparable from just this. Always. There's always some sort of a parenting happening. And in my life, the age of my son, my husband's on retreat, he's gone for the week. My body has limitations. The parenting, and I work, the parenting is very big. It's very enlivening. It's playful. It's spontaneous. It's messy. And we often talk about seeing children as our awake nature, like before the separation happens, before the mental and the nervous system embodiment of trying to escape just this moment can constellate and be strong and predictable. That the children are our teachers, and he is. And the parenting is also the teacher. And it can be easy to see how we're conditioned to separate out from authentic, awake parenting, to want to control, to want to protect, to want to avoid harm, to want to avoid big emotions, big mess, to want to attach to something that we can never let go of, attached to that state that's in toddlerhood, so quick to pass. We don't have to be just taught by our children. The parenting can be the teacher. The how we show up and surrender to rather than resist, even if it's surrendering to our resistance. The power of really dropping in and being present in the life of someone or something that's just coming into being is not just powerful for them. Awake parenting is, I would say, the most vital thing for our planet. That's such a crazy statement to make, because we could never make a statement like that to be universally true, but the trauma I see, the trauma that perpetuates war, the trauma that perpetuates rape, the trauma that perpetuates violence, arrogance, numbness, abuse, substance abuse, more often than not is coming from part of us that did not get the parenting of awakeness from our caregiver. And traumas happen that have nothing to do with our caregivers. And our caregivers aren't. This isn't about blaming the caregivers, the parents, or about trying to find where the trauma started. This is about really the awakeness of parenting in this moment, of if there was separation, attempts at separation, for you, for your system, for your child, for your inner child. How is that reparented right now? It's so clear with my son, the parenting that he blossoms under is it's so obvious. I don't need to say it. You know this already. It's not about perfection. It's not about stopping life from happening for the child. It's about really being with, seeing them, listening to them, modeling with them, laughing with them. When there's pain, being with the pain, not pushing it down, not fearing what that child's response brings up in me. allowing him autonomy in a certain degree, of course, within reason. Relating to that with friendliness, with curiosity, with compassion, with playfulness, with like, oh my God, this has never happened before. Because it hasn't. In this moment, it's fresh and it's new, and the awe in his eyes, like, I don't have to force it. It's life taking care of itself. Sure, there's conditioning that can come up, and there's mistakes that can be made in parenting, and the aliveness really hooks and sinks in when the parenting is awake, and it's empowering in the same way that being there for the self who may have trauma, who may have abuse, who may feel its conditioning in certain moments where that just really doesn't feel welcome or wanted, like for the ability to be with those parts. It's not he's a part of me, he is me. And he's himself. I absolutely didn't create him. He absolutely doesn't belong to me. And the concepts and the spiritualization of attachment I think I used to have misunderstood as seeming taboo, seeming like in the Catholic Church they would say sinful. I don't know what the Buddhist or Eastern or non-dual term is for sinful, but it's not about awakeness being free from attachment for me. I love my son beyond words, and there's a deep bond from me to him, from him to me. But I think in this process of awakening that wouldn't have happened without him, without my pregnancy, without a lot of factors that played in. There's just a saying that the attachment is, when it's in separation, it's an attachment to needing him to be a certain way. And that's the separation. when there's the opening to what's just here, some of that resistance can relax and be supported as just fear of not being in control, fear of loss, fear of no self. Then attachment is seen as just love. Unconditional doesn't need him to be anything. Loves what and how and where he is. And so, yeah, this is kind of this non-sexy awakening topic of parenting children, being a mother. I feel, I don't feel a judgment here, but I feel like it's not talked about, so maybe there's probably, well, that's not even how that's felt. Like, I don't know if there's an interest in hearing this, and it's alive here. This is the life coming up for me, and this is the chunk of time to speak and record, and the mystery of it parenting me, seeing myself come into being, and no expectations, no conditions. This unconditional love and being with. That's there for my son, that's there for my inner children, that's there for the facets of life that I parent and that parent me. It's endless. It's so interconnected.